text I'm looking at is after discussing with leadership, we have received clear direction on the path forward. After evaluating options, moving forward, we have decided to move forward with a partial lane reduction only in the westbound direction. That does not match the words that are being used to talk to us. And like I would historically give the benefit of the doubt, but I think unfortunately just that trust is broken, and I want to set the record straight that we've seen many documents that reflect a different pattern than at least the concept. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but our YouTube videos have not been being uploaded of our previous meetings, so I actually can't look at the previous comments from leadership. I don't know why those stopped getting posted,
Come
but
back to that, but yes.
yeah, but I do just want to say that I think it's really important that I think we used to be able to be looser with some of these facts than we are now just because the trust is so broken. And there are many, many members of the community, including journalists, looking at the same emails.
Uh, Jake, I definitely understand what you're saying. I definitely understand your interpretation. The fact that we were reaching out to our design team, to me, it really, and I don't want to do the lawyer thing and what the definition of is, but it has to be what the definition of a decision is. I think, yes, it was, we were definitely thinking this was the direction we were going in. There's more work. It's very similar to what we're just talking about diverters. We have to do feasibility. We have to do things like that. We're not going to announce kind of here's what we're thinking right now before we do kind of that broader work. And again, I don't want to get bogged down in this. I absolutely have heard everyone's concern, disappointment on that. I think the differing opinion is based on how we define when a decision has been capital M made on there. And I think that's where I respect your opinion. I respect your interpretation of the emails on there. I'll say that the website. So this is, I mentioned earlier, as far as the videos on there. I am now doing kind of the web updates on here. I think what you see on there, and what I'm guessing is what I thought folks could see, because I've uploaded Zoom video links to the website. I'm guessing now that people are not able to see those. I'm able to pull up a Zoom video link. We are getting back into the process of re-uploading those into YouTube on there, but just broadly, are folks able to, when they go to the website, see a video? You should see a video that includes comments from the Zoom client on there. Are you guys able to see that? Because I spent some time, maybe put it in the chat if you're not, but we'll get the YouTube up. I know that is just a little bit more complex process. And like I said, we had to make some changes after the layoff process on there. So we're not quite as sophisticated as we once were. But if y'all aren't able to view those Zoom videos, please do tell me and I'll make sure that we
Nick,
are.
I'm sorry, I can see them. I wasn't used to looking
Okay.
for them.
Okay, good. I'm still going to move them to, we'll still move them to YouTube though. I know that's the easiest.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nick. And I did throw in the link in the chat. And for those attending, if you just Google Denver DOTI and go to the About Advisory Board section, it's the bottom of the DOTI page. You can see under the 2025 meetings, there's links to, as Nick said, the meeting agendas and the meeting recording. So thanks for cluing us into that. Joe, you're next in the queue.
Oh, thanks. On a little bit of a different note. Nick, when you said about the $2 million, I really like that we want everybody to think about what can happen and all that. But I just know from my group with my neighborhoods that people think money goes a lot further than it really does. And
Yes.
so actually was talking with Jake about what are the low cost things they can do, maybe offer suggestions, striping, daylighting at intersections and all that. Because,
Yes.
people say, well, I want a stoplight there and all that, and then the 2 million's gone. So that's the problem that we run into. Everybody doesn't think things cost what they do, and wondering why we don't do anything. Well, there isn't the money to put a stoplight or anything in. So just a suggestion there.
100% agree, Joe. And I think I'm very glad, and I can't remember if it was through the amendment process or I think it was in the original budget. Obviously, this year's budget was extremely tight. I do think they would like to have done more. I'm glad it's 2 million, but 100% agree. I'm still shocked after doing this work for 8 years plus another 10 years how much stuff costs on there, hence the feasibility analysis and all of that.
I am looking forward to the gondola running from the Highlands neighborhood to downtown.
Gondola, that is what I was trying to think of. Gondola.
Clearly less than $2 million. Emma,
Yeah.
you're next in the queue.
Yeah, thanks for recognizing me. Yeah, so I did kind of want to reiterate some of the points that Dr. Menser and Jake had brought up regarding the Alameda project, because I think I'm not quite convinced of a timeline here that makes sense in my mind. So maybe you can help me with that. But it sounds like you're saying like there was an informal decision made to do a partial reduction by August. Is that correct? But it wasn't a formal decision?
Yes, yeah, probably. Yeah, in August we began exploring the alternative design. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Just because like reading some of the language from this Corrid email, like this doesn't look like exploration to me. This looks like a plan. Like it says we have decided to move forward with a partial lane reduction. Like how would you explain that language specifically?
And again, that goes to what I was saying. I don't, I'm starting to repeat myself at this point, kind of how you define when a decision has been made and it is final. What we announced in November, at that point, it was basically the concept was final at that point. So I think that gentleman on there had received direction that I think this is the direction we're going to go on there. And that's that we need you to reach out to the contractor and let's start to look at make sure that this is feasible on there. So again, it's going to go to your how you define when a decision has been made on there, and that's really where I think the different opinions are, and why folks felt that it was disingenuous to say a decision hadn't been made at that point, and why we feel that no, it was not disingenuous.
Well, I suppose in addition to that, like why were we given a different reason at the previous meeting? Like if assuming Amy Ford was aware of this email and these internal communications, like why give us like an unrelated reason
It
regarding
wasn't unrelated, and again, that's I think I kind of touched on that earlier on there. The initial decision to pause this lane repurposing project was made prior to kind of the big influx of opposition to this. That was made because of a number of different Alameda projects. And when I leave the wastewater building, I still experience them on there, and being able to ensure there was a number of Alameda underpass, and I forget the other project or projects that were going on, that we try to avoid overwhelming a corridor, and especially a major corridor like Alameda, with simultaneous construction projects. We get annihilated when we do that. And so that is why overall the project had been put on pause. During that pause, thank you, I-25 and Broadway, thank you, and Alameda Underpass, June, on there. And so that pause had been made just, then subsequent to that, the major influx of comments came in. We did some more analysis, some more exploration, things like that, and that kind of been the subsequent. So both things were accurate.
Yeah, and I guess on that note, like, I'm obviously aware of the 29th Avenue protected bike lane cancellation that happened last year, and I think similar reasoning was given for that cancellation. So I was curious if Dottie is able to share some of the objective criteria for thresholds for when safety projects are canceled due to community outreach. Who all was involved in that decision to make the change to a
Sure.
partial lane? How long was this considered? When did the threshold reach a point where this was considered? Like, what was the count that actually drove you to make that decision? Are there guidelines based on counts of community outreach from specific individuals? Do we have any more objective measures for why this decision was made?
Yeah, I think we could probably have someone come in and talk to the committee about how we develop projects and why there are times where we decide it's not always objective, because community engagement is not always objective, and kind of the feedback we receive is not always. So it does end up having to take on objective and subjective factors on there. And in both of these cases, these are serious decisions that are made from the project manager all the way up to the executive director. And I think Amy's been very transparent about when she makes a decision and comes and owns it with y'all. But yeah, I think we could absolutely, I think that would be a great topic if the board is interested in that, in talking about kind of the interplay between project development and community engagement.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely appreciate more information on that. Thanks.
Thanks, Emma. And June, I think you're last in the queue here.
Yep. Also very cognizant of time. Travis, I do see you in our participants. I'm super excited to talk about 16th Street, but unfortunately, we happen to be at a time when this Alameda thing has, I think, eaten up a lot of air, and rightfully so. Two quick questions for you, Nick. First, one thing I've noticed is that there's, at least to my view, a seeming increase